Hello and welcome to this Welcome Back to BHASVIC A2 Parents event. My name's Mark Monahan, Vice Principal for Digital and Communications, and I'll just be introducing my colleagues who will talk you through what to expect for your young person in their second year at BHASVIC here. So you'll hear a quick introduction from our principal, and then some key information about our student services experience and guidance team, the curriculum, and then a little reminder about some of our digital and communication. Now, we do have a team on hand right now, able to take your questions during this show. And any questions you have, you can pop in the chat that we have here on Slido. And if there's anything that's more kind of personal that you don't want to put on that, then you can obviously contact your young person's tutor or get in touch with student services. So without further ado, I will hand over to Will Baldwin, our principal. Will.
Hi everyone, thanks Mark. Welcome back to BHASVIC for another academic year. You are now well seasoned as parents and carers of a student here. Frighteningly, they are well over halfway through their time with us. Thanks for making time to fit us into your busy schedules tonight. I hope you all had a good summer. Students have been back with us now for nearly 2 weeks, and I hope they've quickly settled back into their old routines. Believe it or not, this is the last year of formal classroom education that they will have. Even if they go on to university, their experience will be very different from this statutory phase of education. When I welcomed students back, I asked them to imagine what they would be doing this time next year, whether that's a gap year, going to university, or into the world of work. And then I asked them, do you know what you need to do in order to get there? Have they joined up the dots? And ultimately, we want our students to leave here as lifelong learners. And that means helping them to think for themselves, to know where they are, where they want to be, and what they need to do to get there. To know what to do when they don't know what to do, and also to make the most of all the support and resources available to them here. More on that to follow from my colleagues. One key message that we want you to help reinforce is that what makes a BHASVIC student isn't just leaving here with qualifications. Although clearly that's essential, we place as much emphasis here on personal and social development. And as they enter the second year, it's not too late to make the most of all the opportunities to be part of our thriving community, including the clubs and societies we have. They can find out more about these and sign up to them at our enrichment fair on Wednesday, the 24th of September. Ultimately, being successful at this level takes hard work, but we also want students to find that balance between working hard and playing hard. Their well-being really is important to us. I hope they have a brilliant year with us and that they can leave having surpassed their own expectations and your expectations, and that this time next year they are going on to great things. Thanks for your support behind the scenes. It means a lot and makes a difference. Now going to hand over to Jess Young, who's our Vice Principal for Student Services. Thanks, Jess.
Hi, everyone. So, hello, I'm Jessica Young. I'm the Vice Principal for Student Services. And I just wanted to spend a few minutes reminding you of some of the essential people and services here at BHASVIC. At BHASVIC, we are here to help and support our students to ensure that everyone thrives. And it's really important that our students take advantage of that support, advice, and guidance while it's free and on hand. So firstly, a couple of reminders about how tutorial works. All students have an hour and a half allocated on their timetable for tutorial. This includes a 45-minute group session once a week based in the Student Services Centre. And they also have 45 minutes of time allocated for guided learning, follow-up work, one-to-ones and check-ins with their tutor. Students also need to check in with the weekly updates and events by watching a weekly briefing video, and this will be on the tutorial hub. And this is something slightly new, so they might need to be reminded to do this. Your young person has been able to choose a specialist pathway linked to their chosen progression route this year. a sharper focus on university or applying for an apprenticeship, going into employment, maybe a visual arts pathway for some of them, which might be linked to an art foundation course, or applications to Oxbridge or medicine. The central aim of tutorial in Year 2 is to provide pathway options that are specialist, tailored support for students as they prepare for their next steps. Tutors are also there to provide additional support and signpost students to where they need to get any other help, particularly if they change their mind, which, let's face it, they might do. They might need careers support or to help understand their different options. Whatever they need, their tutor will help them and signpost them to the appropriate support. We gave you lots of information about UCAS applications in our Moving into A2 webinar and in the summer, and in the specialist application evenings. Actually, they were in the springtime. You can still access these on the website on the main parers and carers page. And there's a wealth of information about dedicated careers and higher education pages up there as well, including key dates and deadlines. For those applying to university, the most important deadline for you to remember is the internal application deadline of the 26th of September for Oxbridge and Medics and the 21st of November for all other applications. And we've recently just done A2 assemblies with everyone, and there was a bit of information that I thought was really good. They only need to put one choice to process their UCAS application by our internal deadline, and students can continue to add choices up until the 14th of January, which is the external deadline. So that might actually help students to process their application quicker, knowing that information. A few words next about the guidance team and guidance managers. Each tutor is line managed by a guidance manager who oversees all the pastoral casework. They come from a range of different backgrounds and liaise with everybody across the college, from safeguarding to learning support and exams. If there are any concerns over any aspect of students' progress at college or their behaviour, guidance managers will be involved. They're here to provide guidance and support and find out the best way for students to move forward. There's more information about the team at the bottom of the Wellbeing page if you are interested. And if your person needs to book an appointment with them, they simply need to go to the Student Services reception. We have a wonderful team of people who manage the Student Services Centre. They're called Centre Operations Team. And if a student needs to make an appointment about safeguarding issue or a careers appointment or a counselling appointment or see their guidance manager, they just need to go to that reception desk and they will be helped. They have a wealth of knowledge there and they know how best to support people, including offering the financial support and advice on bursaries. The Centre Ops team, really importantly, are all mental health first aid trained and can provide on-the-spot help for students who might be feeling anxious about college or any other aspect of their life. We appreciate just how important this year is for our young people, with exams and big change approaching, and we know from experience that it can be overwhelming and stressful for some. That's why we prioritise cross-college personal development sessions that help support students in learning how to manage their time and well-being and how to manage their study. You'll be pleased to know that the Centre Ops team are also on hand to help during the busy exam period with anybody who is feeling overwhelmed or anxious and can help them find a real positive way forward. So what about the fun? Well, Student Services also has a dedicated events and enrichment team. They organise lots of events throughout the year, with the next big event being Freshers' Fair on Wednesday, the 26th of September. And this is an opportunity for students, even if they didn't get involved last year, but want to be involved with something this year, to sign up and do something different and meet some new people. They also oversee all our careers events. So we've got Futures Fair in January, and they also ran all the Skills Week things that we needed in July. So as you might know, we've got loads of links with different careers. We've got a particularly special relationship with American Express as a key link employer. And their volunteers are actually coming in to help some of our tutor groups with CV writing and interview sessions in October. A2 students should also look out for student conferences running in November and digital assemblies throughout the year that will support them in their next steps. As I said, the students get their weekly update now through a weekly briefing, but you keep updated. We keep you updated even via our parent and carer updates, which Mark will tell you more about. So I think the final message from me is just that we're really looking forward to supporting your young person through this academic year. It's important that we help our young people to embrace learning, but also that we support them to find balance and belonging here at BHASVIC. And so if there's anything that we can do to help with that, with those people and help them to move forward, then please contact student services at basvic.ac.uk. Thank you so much for your time this evening. And I'm now going to pass you over to James.
Smashing. Thanks very much, Jess. So I am James McRaeve, the Deputy Principal, and I oversee the curriculum of our teaching and learning and our sort of outcomes. And I'm just going to talk very briefly about that increasing independence, and as parents and carers, where you sit, what your role is, or any kind of tips for you around that. I've got 3 things I'm going to mention about, what's new in A2. First of all, they will have a portfolio course on their timetable now, most of them. And this is a really lovely bit of kind of curriculum provision at BHASVIC, which is a high quality professional who knows something really well. And the student has had quite a wide range of choices of things to explore and extend and add. So they might, for example, do a Spanish for beginners course, which is new and a feather in their cap, or they might be choosing something like debating, which extends and deepens their own skills around the kind of courses and subjects that they're studying and indeed want to continue to study or take up as a career. So really lovely offer, 1 period a week, and that's new. And they're very, very enjoyable, and we get good feedback on those. Another thing that's new is that there will be 2 assessment weeks, and these are designed to help students as they come to final exams to practice those. So twice they will be sitting an exam. They are in lessons, and they're really just about students having that opportunity to really kind of practice and have a go at that. It's not the only practice they get, but quite an important opportunity to do so. Those will be marked, and they'll get feedback, and they'll do postmortems in lessons with their classes. So really, really important feature of preparing them for those really important sort of final exams next summer. And then the third thing is just to mention, this is not new, but it's sort of new, isn't it? But artificial intelligence and what that means around education. And I've got an illustration for you, which is showing a robot, if you like, that's sort of sapping all the color and the life out of the person. And the next illustration is actually kind of the point to make. Let's use AI wisely. So a couple of important points here. We have a motto: the one doing the thinking is the one doing the learning. And so we are working with our students to understand that AI is a great tool, but it's not a tool to do the work for you. It's a tool to help you learn. And so you would spend the same amount of time learning, and you'd spend the same amount of time thinking, but you can use AI to help you think on the most useful stuff and to do some of that donkey work or the heavy lifting away from you. There's also, we make sure that our students understand some really important cautions around malpractice and so on. So they do need to present their own work and always reference any AI use. But that's just a quick reminder there. I have some top tips for you, 3 of them. I'll talk about lessons in relation to that increasing independence as our students move into their second year. I'll talk about study routines, which most students will have got down to a T, but some are still working that out. And then I'll talk about sort of taking advantage and how to get help. So lessons first. This is on the next slide, I've got a table for you. And this shows differences in performance. So if the line across the middle is a student where they would expect the grades they'd expect to be getting, and the bar charts are them doing better than that or worse than expectation, you'll see that on the top right it's a fourth of a grade above, and on the bottom left that is 2/3 of a grade below expectation. And you've guessed it, the students that are attending all the lessons statistically on average are achieving higher than expectation, considerably so. And the students that are missing a quarter, a fifth of their lessons will statistically are very highly likely to underperform quite significantly. So getting to every lesson, they're, really, really critical. And A2 students may well be feeling more independent, be feeling, well, this is what works for me. And, I'll study at home today because, I can get more done. Don't hear that. They should get to the lesson. Really, really important to maintain that momentum, that contact with the teacher and have that kind of guidance. Okay, next top tip is about study routines. And having had a year of a sixth form timetable, a lot of students will have kind of nailed their routine. They will have a new timetable now, and so they'll recalibrate that. But as you'll know, a sixth form timetable is very different from a secondary school one. Here is an example with 3 subjects, orange, green, and blue, and there are gaps in a student's day. Making use of that time and doing that independent study is one of the most powerful things that a student can do. And if you're a young person who hasn't quite got into the groove of, I have my lessons and then I have the same amount of time that I study independently, and they haven't planned that, then that's a really, really good thing to do with them, including asking them to do that with their personal tutor if they're not quite sure how to go about that. But you'll see here, those paler areas are where a student might be doing their homework, their independent study on that subject with a timetable like that. Okay, so final one is taking advantage. And there is a lot of support, as Jess mentioned, an extensive array of support. 3 key ones. Number 1, always their teacher. As particularly at this second year, if a student is struggling or finding element hard or not sure, not understanding, some snag is occurring with their course. That's not uncommon. First of all, it's not an easy level. It is a challenging level. It's designed to challenge that. But talking to the teacher and letting the teacher know about that is the number 1 point of support. Next up is then we do run subject extensions, and our second year students traditionally are really good at making use of these. A subject extension is not a lesson. It is a drop-in classroom with a teacher of that subject available to help with anything that they're struggling with, topics, homework, assessments, etc. Anything that they need help with. And that can be sort of, one of the most powerful ways to get that. And then finally, as a sixth form college, our teams are real experts in just this level. So the course that your young person is studying, the teacher that's teaching them and the team that are running that course know that level exceptionally well. And that's all they do, really. They are experts in that. They are generally large teams, so they can create really high quality resources in the SharePoint that can support students. They know the challenges that students face, and there are good resources there. So 3 places to signpost, and Mark will show you next a bit more detail about those systems and kind of what they look like. So thank you from me, and looking forward to getting into the second year with our students, our smashing students. Thank you.
Thank you very much, James. That's great. So I'm just going to talk you through a few things, and a lot of this will be reminders with a few tweaks around just some of the communication tools that we have available for you, how we keep you in touch, and also some of the platforms for kind of teaching and learning here that your young person is using. So some of this will be very familiar, and there might be some small changes. So all of it's just really important just to come back to and revisit. So I'm just going to quickly cover a bit more about artificial intelligence, the parental communications we send out, some reminders around our parent portal and the student digital induction that students would have had in the past, some reminders around bring your own device, and then also just some highlights on the digital learning resources students have available. So Microsoft this year, just over summer, announced that they were rolling out their AI tool Copilot for students over the age of 13, which means that now we can provide students at BHASVIC with a free access to Copilot. And this tool effectively is ChatGPT in the background, but with a kind of Microsoft skin on top of it. And it means that when a young person is signed into their Microsoft account, they get free access to this tool. And it means that also any of the conversations and chats they have are all protected in that environment. The chats aren't used to train the model. The data doesn't go anywhere else. It's all protected within the BHASVIC Microsoft environment. So it's a great tool for students to support their learning as their teachers guide them in sort of the best effective ways to use these tools. But it also means that your young person doesn't feel compelled to have to spend $20, $25, $30 a month on a kind of a fee for some other AI tool out there. So then the information that we provide to you as parents and carers, just some reminders. So we have a dedicated section on our website where there's a lot of links to various information that you need to know. But I've just highlighted 3 here, which are calendars, communication, and our parent portal. So we send out to you every fortnight, every 2 weeks, a parent communication. So effectively like a newsletter, and it will have information like you see here, some introduction about some things that are going on in the college and some key dates that are coming up in the near future. And it's just a really great way of just to keep on top of what's happening, what's coming up, so that you can just kind of work with your young person to make sure they're on top of everything that's going on in the college. And also it's just quite nice to hear about some of the great things that are going on here. Now, we recognize that knowing what's coming up in the next couple of weeks isn't always everything you need. So then also here on the website is a complete calendar for the whole academic year. And that has information about perhaps trips that are going on, times when help desks are running, all kinds of things across the whole academic year. Now, we recognize it's great to have that, but sometimes you just want a copy of that and just stick it on the fridge so you've got it for easy reference. So we've also had our team pull together a kind of snapshot of all those key points in the year that you and your young person need to know about. And you can just print that out from our website, stick it on the fridge, and you've just got it there for easy access. And sometimes it's just easier than having to kind of flick through the website and find that information. And now, obviously, your young person is in their 2nd year, and this will become a bit more relevant to them, but we have a whole section on our website dedicated to exams, and that has information about the exams calendar, where you can browse what exams your young person will have, what to do leading up to the exam, the post-result services, so information about certificates or appeals, all that kind of stuff. So there's a wealth of information that we keep on the website there for you. And then most of you will have probably already used this, but it's just a reminder that Cedar is our parent portal. And there's just a few housekeeping things here. Obviously, you can see your young person's timetable, which will likely have changed this year. But it's a really good place to check their attendance and then also notify us of any absences. So instead of having to call up and leave a voicemail, you can go directly into Cedar with your parent login details and then just log an absence there. And then just one of the other bits of information that is for parents and also parents and also students is our BHASVIC YouTube channel. So like this event tonight is on our channel, but we also host specialist events. So you can see here, there's some things where we had like Introduction to Progression Week, UCAS kind of Oxbridge kind of programs. So we host lots of things here on here, including also digital assemblies. So during the year, rather than getting everyone into a big hall and having a big assembly, we'll have digital assemblies, and they will form part of the compulsory tutorial provision. So we've got them here on YouTube, so they're really easy to find and to access without anyone thinking, oh, where is it on the kind of college website? It's just nice and easy to find. Just some reminders, I guess, about the kind of workflows and patterns. And it's really easy for young people to get into a routine and a habit, sometimes good ones, sometimes not great. And it's just a reminder that we do have a bring your own device policy, which basically means bring a device that's suitable for working. And we pretty much say that a laptop is the most suitable device. It has a keyboard, it's got a big screen, you can access all your learning content. It doesn't have to be a big, powerful laptop, just suitable for word processing, internet browsing. And we recognize some students may have different requirements for different courses, but generally a laptop is fine. But a mobile phone is just not a great device for working on. And we know that some people in their day-to-day jobs, mobile phones are a big part of that. But just for ease of access, good routines, and also avoiding just notifications and things that come up, a laptop is just such a better kind of headspace to work in rather than kind of everything popping up on, WhatsApp and everything else. And a reminder, your young person can find all the information, communications with their teachers and all their courses in Microsoft Teams. So they're split into their classes on Teams, and they are set assignments by their teachers. So they'll receive assignments in there, and they can actually just go onto the assignments tab on Teams and see all the assignments they have coming up. And this is different to perhaps how you might have used Teams if you use it for your job. And then kind of behind that also, every course area has a SharePoint page, which just has all the course resources neatly organized in a very kind of visual way, that are all those resources James talked about, those kind of specialist resources that our teachers use to deliver the courses. And they're all kind of laid out in very kind of similar ways across all the courses. So it's very easy for students to navigate, and they can just come to SharePoint and the drop-down menu at the top, and they can navigate to their courses and just easily find the resources they need. And then following on from that, we also have the same experience now for tutorial. So there's always been our tutorial hub, which has pertinent resources for students in their tutorial experience. But so here you can see information that went out about Skills Week, and your young person can look in there and find out what was going on during that time. But we've also now got a little drop down at the top there that says what you need to know this week. And we know that sometimes it's hard to keep on top of communication. Young people are busy, there's a lot going on. So we've found a way to try and push a lot of the key information that's happening in the college into that tab, so they can drop it down and news feeds will come through of all the most current information that's happening in the college. So any kind of events that are coming up, you can see here there's a placeholder that says thing to do now. So if there's something they need to book, we can have that right there front and center. Any of the digital assemblies, we'll have those posted on there. So it really becomes our kind of BHASVIC campus notice board. So young people, if they're not sure what's happening in the next week, when was that event on, they can come to this tutorial hub and there'll be up-to-date live information. And we'll post information, as you can see here, like the 26th of September. We've got the A2 early applications deadline. So we'll post in their dates for various things that are coming up, and your young person will also look at that with their tutor during tutor time. And then again, just a reminder that your young person will also be accessing Cedar. Sometimes it's to reflect on their learning and their progress reviews, or it might be to write up something for their UCAS, or to have a look at their reference. And also they have the My BHASVIC app on the right, which is really a launch pad to allow them to jump into all those different things. So it might be to jump into Cedar, into their calendar, into their timetable, that kind of stuff. And that is pretty much it from me. So we do have our team still here on standby for the next 10 minutes or so, and they'll be able to take your questions. So feel free to jot your questions down there in the Q&A. But if there's anything that you need that you don't want to share in there, as Jess said before, then you can get in touch with either your young person's tutor or with Student Services. Thanks very much for sticking around. We're looking forward to a great year this year with your young person. Thanks for being here, and hope to see you all soon. Thanks very much.